Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Shehu Gabam. Try as much as possible today to package and unpack for you what we have for the program tonight. Time may not permit us to be able to get all of this to you, but we'll try as much as possible within this 1 hour or so to get you in the know and up to date with some of the biggest and the top news incoming on the political scene in Nigeria today. Get ready, everyone, and let's get started. We begin rather on a somber note with the news of the death of the leader of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Chief Iwuanyanwu. The 82-year-old leader is said to have died today after a brief illness. He was a Nigerian politician and businessman, considered one of the richest Igbo men in the country. He emerged as the 11th President General of the Igbo Socio-Cultural Organization in April last year rather. May his soul rest in peace. Before we get talking tonight, of course, I will bring you up to speed with stories happening across the country, politically speaking. But of course, we'll speak with one of the leaders of the top political parties in Nigeria today, the role of the opposition in the planned protest, and what the government of the day is saying and doing, the reactions, and some of the narratives that is coming out from the government. Of course, I take you also to Edo State. The violence that we are seeing is signaling a bad omen for the election. If what is happening in Edo State is anything to go by, we have a lot to worry about. But the APC has been fingered in all of this. Accusing fingers are pointed at the opposition APC. Don't forget, the Governor Obaseki leadership in Edo State is of the PDP, but they are saying that APC is instigating it. Shaibu, the deputy governor who wanted to assume office, says that he's being attacked by those who are of the Governor Obaseki in the PDP. Sense does this make? We'll try to make sense of for all of this for you tonight. So stick around with me. But first and foremost, let me bring you up to speed with your political roundup stories.
The Progressive Governors Forum is appealing to Nigerian youth to shelve their plan of a nationwide protest over alleged hardship in the country, as the forum expresses optimism that the current economic challenges in Nigeria is being addressed by President Bola Tinubu. Speaking in Abuja after a meeting of the forum which held behind closed doors, the chairman of the forum and governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodinma, urged Nigerian youth to shun all forms of instigation to unleash mayhem on the country in the name of protest.
Use this opportunity also to advise our young boys and girls, our young men and women, to desist from being instigated into causing crisis or chaos in the country.
The Trade Union Congress is asking security agencies to provide adequate protection for any citizen who has a reason to protest, insisting that such actions is guaranteed in the Nigerian Constitution as a fundamental right of citizens. The union also dissociated itself from the much talked about national protest against hardship and bad governance.
All we know is that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is very clear on the issue of peaceful protest. And the Police Act also mandated the police that when there is a protest, you should ensure that there is law and order.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mr. Mahmoud Yakubu, has declared that the electoral umpire is capable of successfully conducting local government elections if saddled with the responsibility by law. The INEC chair said this when he appeared before a joint National Assembly Committee on Electoral Matters to present the Ondo and Edo off-cycle elections budget in Abuja. From Kebbi State, the People's Democratic Party has announced its readiness to participate in the upcoming local government elections scheduled for August 31. The state secretary of the party, Mr. Abubakar Kalgo, told journalists at a news conference in Birnin Kebbi. According to Mr. Kalgo, the party has completed all necessary arrangements and submitted all required documents in line with the guidelines set by the State Electoral Commission. Ahead of the September governorship election in Edo State, the National Rescue Mission has announced Mr. Dennis Ikorogi as its governorship candidate. The national chairman of the party, Mr. Isaac Ude, while presenting the party's flag to Mr. Ikorogi in Abuja, expressed optimism that the party will emerge victorious in the governorship election and called on the Independent Electoral Commission and security agencies to ensure a free and fair election exercise. In his acceptance speech, the governorship candidate promised to invest in agriculture, health and human empowerment programs if voted as the governor of Edo State.
The infrastructures, electricity, diversification of the economy, agriculture. We need to charge a new course in terms of governance in Edo State.
Thank you so much, everyone. So let's get started with some of your biggest stories in the land today. August 1st is nearing, and the apprehension over the planned End Bad Governance protest grows. President Bola Tinubu today entered an emergency closed-door meeting with top traditional rulers, security top brass in his government, and governors of his party, the ruling All Progressives Congress APC. The high delegation meeting was held at the State House in Abuja, the nation's capital. The APC governors were led to the meeting by the chairman of the APC's Governors Forum and Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma. Some first-class traditional rulers were also in attendance. The meeting was also attended by the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, the Inspector General of Police, Kadi Egbetukun, as well as ministers and other members of the President's cabinet.
It is very difficult to build, but it is the easiest to destroy. We are all stakeholders of this country. We should be stronger as a nation together than stronger individually. We should talk to ourselves. It's important for us to know that today it's a completely different spin. The government, ably led by the president, is willing to engage and dialogue and bring governance very close to the people.
This protest, I know that it's catching you very, very high in your neck, but if you give us the chance, let us not destroy our own country. I ask you, think of Libya. Libya was a beautiful country. What has happened to Libya, we don't want it to happen here.
We're hopeful, that inshallah it will be well. Even though we have made it very clear to him, our main problem in this country, especially in the north here, is security issue. If the security situation is addressed, certainly people will go back to their farms.
Those are some of the sound bites coming out of the presidential villa. Largely, some of the first-class traditional rulers in some parts of the country, a representative of the voices of the traditional rulers represented there at the meeting today. But does he represent the interests of the people, of the general interest of Nigeria? Does he represent the yearnings, or they are just appealing to the sensibilities of Nigerians? Well, the question is, who are the leaders of this protest, the End Bad Governance protest? Are they being identified? We'll come to that in a moment. The Defense Headquarters has been explaining its own role in the planned protest and also warning of what Nigerians should look out for. The military says that it will participate in ensuring peace, safety, and of course cohesion of the Nigerian state in those days when the planned protest will be staged. Take a listen to the DHQ spokesperson.
Based on what has been gathered, there are plans by unscrupulous elements to hijack this protest and make sure that it turns violent. Believe me, when this happens, it is nothing but a state of anarchy, lawlessness. So that is why I say that while the protesters have a right by the Constitution to protest, they do not have a right to galvanize for the unleashing of terror.
That is the military on one hand, and it does look like there is a stern warning. Yeah, you can protest, but do not cross the line. That looks to me the warning coming from the military. Yes, you can protest under the Constitution, you have the right, but you cannot cause mayhem or cause trouble. Now, the Department of State Services, the DSS, says that the service has identified the funding lines, sponsors, and collaborators of the plot, and is therefore asking parents, guardians, and heads of traditional and academic institutions to advise their children, wards, subjects, and students not to take part in the planned protest. The DSS is asking persons and groups yet to identify themselves in the public as leaders of the plot to stage a nationwide protest to shelve their plans and eschew any form of proposed rage, anarchy, and spoliation. In a statement signed by Mr. Peter Afunaya, who is the head of public relations and strategic communications with the DSS, he says that while peaceful protest is a democratic right of the citizen, it has confirmed a sinister plan by some elements to infiltrate the protest and use it to cause chaos and extreme violence in the land. Quote, while peaceful protest is a democratic right of citizens, the service has confirmed a sinister plan by some elements to infiltrate the protest and use it to cause chaos and extreme violence in the land. The statement went further to say that that service has also identified, among others, the funding lines, sponsors, and collaborators of the plot. However, it does not think that aggression should be the first line of action in the instance in handling the imagined scenario. Those are some of the words directly from the DSS today. Yesterday, we heard from one of the leaders of the APC. Tonight, let's listen and speak to one of the leaders of the opposition political party in all of this. Whether or not they are also part of these, in one way, it's a political movement in the sense that almost all of the agenda or the demands are political in nature, if you ask, because they are governance related and are asking political action by the government. Now, I'm being joined by the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, Alhaji Shehu Gabam. He joins us live here in our Abuja studio. It's a pleasure having you in our studio tonight. Thank you so much for coming.
John, once again, it's nice to see you.
Thank you.
It's confirmed that fake news is fake news.
Fake news is
nice
fake
to
news.
see you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alhaji.
Thank you.
Let's begin. What I want to know the stand of your party towards the End Bad Governance protest. Is this something that your party subscribes to? And is it partaking in it?
Well, I don't know about End Bad Governance protest, as you call it. But as a party, we have taken a position. We have endorsed peaceful protests, devoid of any act of violence or anarchy or killing or barbarism. We have drawn lines of our endorsements, line with the provision of the Constitution, where citizens are guaranteed to protest peacefully by disagreeing with the policies and programs of the government. And I like the developments. The nation have woken up. The organs of government are functioning. The elders of the country are talking. The stakeholders are coming together, which means that we are getting somewhere, and it is possible to avert it if the government take responsibility, take necessary steps to stop it from happening. Nobody will pray for anarchy. I was privileged to be in Liberia and Sierra Leone after the war. I've gone around. I've not seen any building standing without being pierced by bullets. I have been to Borno during the height of Boko Haram and Yobe. I cried. Nobody beat me. The sufferings, the buffer zones you see around Borno and Yobe states. So no decent person would love to see anarchy in his own country. Certainly not me and not our party.
I guess one of the major problems here is the lessons from the NSAS and the aftermath of the NSAS protest, which has cost, if you ask Lagos, Lagos will tell you that, yes, the voices of the Nigerian young people and Nigerians were heard loudly, but those things that have happened in the aftermath, which has led a bad taste in the mouth. And you look at structures and millions of naira worth of infrastructures that are being flattened by some of our scrupulous elements who have taken chance and taking advantage of that protest. Perhaps this is what is scaring the government of the day, do you think?
The government have every right to be scared. Every citizen have the right to be scared. Nobody knows how it will turn into. Nobody pray for ignitement of crisis or violence anywhere in the world. Lagos is still recovering from the NSAS damage and barbarism it has caused. And then, of course, whatever plan people had is likely to be infiltrated. I led a protest of SDP to the National Assembly under Buhari regime. And the Commissioner of Police was with me. He guided the process. He provided security agencies. We did the protest very, very peacefully. So I don't know the organizers. I've never met with the organizers. But what we are saying as a party, which we draw the attention of the federal government so many times, including on this program, we told Mr. President that taking a decision without proper calculation will lead to undesired consequences. These are the consequences we are talking about that they are trying to prevent at the last minute. And the factors are extremely very clear. The level of poverty, nobody can give you the accurate statistic of what it is. The level of unemployment, nobody can give you accurate statistic of what it is. Now, the level of hunger that have enveloped the country, the food supply chain have been cut off tremendously. And that is why the foodstuff have gone to the roof. Now, if you compare this with what people are earning and what people are struggling to do to keep life going, you know that these are almost inevitable. The palliative processes the government have brought in have no any major effects. Recently, I saw the distribution of 20 trailers of rice to almost all the states of the Federation. It cannot take care of Nyanya alone if you distribute it in Abuja today. So what they need to do at the period that we are, the farming season period, I expect strategic intervention from the government. But number one, what I expect this president should do as the number one citizen is to address the country. This is my first expectation.
He should address it like a nationwide address.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, my own advice to him as somebody who knows him is for him to address the nation. All other things are secondary layers.
What would that do to the agitation?
Let me tell you what it will do. People are angry because so many perceptions have been created out there. The president has been caged out. Nobody reached out to him. You hear it from stakeholders, from senators, from so many other groups that nobody has access to him, including his ministers. He needs to clear this perception that no, Nigerians, I know what is going on. I have access to all your complaints. I will address it. This is what I'm going to do. A, B, C, D. This is the time of implementation. This is what I expect from the president. Relying on the second layers of dishing out information at this critical time is not advisable for him. He is the number one stakeholder. He is the one to bear the brunt. He is the one who applied for the job. He is the one who is going to correct the problem. So he needs to address the nation beyond any other thing. I'm happy the traditional rulers and others are intervening. I'm happy the security agencies are coming up, are doing thorough investigation, coming up with some people who they identify as organizers. So if they know the organizers, what they need to do as a government is a quick intervention. Sit down with them, dialogue with them, find out what the problems are. And of course, if there are criminal elements that will hijack the process, the essence of having security all over the world is to create deterrence. That is the only reason why we have army, we have SSF, we have police, is simply to create deterrence, to deal with extreme elements who don't believe in a simple way of doing things.
And I'd like to ask you, because the role of the military has come out to say they will not allow a breakdown of law and order. Is it constitutional? Would it be right to see the military on the road on that day? And what kind of messaging will it, because there are constitutionally guaranteed role of the different strata and different layers of security in the country, and the roles of the security agents. The police is saddled with the responsibility of policing the nation to be helped and assisted by the sister agencies such as road safety, for traffic management, the NSCDC to protect critical infrastructure. But the military, in a civil engagement, can they be visible? Is it likely? Should they be seen? That's the question right now.
Well, it's a clear signal that the government is in the panic mood. And in a panic mood, they have to use every arm of government to create fears in the minds of the people. For me, that is not the right thing to do. The entire gamut of government is about diplomacy. That's the entire gamut of government. It's about humanity and it's about humility. Your approach in solving issues, the rhetoric you use will determine how far it will go. Now, I don't expect army to come out, even though they have the right, if the red line is being crossed, for them to intervene to guide the territorial integrity of Nigeria, to avoid external influence being used to undermine the country, which is very okay. But I think the situation have not reached to the level to which they are raising the alarm. These are containable issues.
But you don't think perhaps that it's more of intelligence gathering? Because if you hear what the DSS has said, I mean, the DSS don't speak unless they have some intelligence. And this is the lead agency in the country that handles intelligence. So when they come out to say, we have information, we know those who are funded, the collaborators. I mean, don't you think that there is some sense and wisdom in what the DSS is saying when they come out to say, look, there are plot and sinister motives of some people, unscrupulous elements who are in the guise of trying to promote these protests, wanting to scuttle the peace of the country?
The primary reason why the DSS was established is to generate intelligence and prevent crime, and they are doing their job perfectly well. And I respect, their intelligence gathering system. Now, it's about to generate intelligence and to prevent crime from happening. After generating the intelligence, is to engage the actors that they have identified and find a way to reduce the magnitude of the damage that is likely to cause. They can do it silently. If need be, they can do it very openly. But what I'm saying, at this stage that we are, what the nation needs, what the youth need, who are angry, who are impoverished, that have enveloped the country, is a voice that have the capacity to penetrate them biologically. Language that matters. In all wars that you see, it is language that creates war. How you present them and how you manage them, and how government have diplomats and communication experts to engage the populace.
Let me ask you, Alhaji Gabam, would you be participating in that protest on the 1st?
No, I will not participate. What I'm doing...
Would your party be participating?
No, our party support those who want to do it peacefully. We have said it openly. We address what...
But you will not join them?
We are not going out to join the protest, but we told them, we guided that you do it within the ambit of the law. Don't carry even a scissors. Don't carry a razor. But you are free to carry a placard.
But will you be supporting them in some ways?
Well, there is no way I can support them more than what I'm saying. I'm supporting my nation. I'm not supporting the protesters. I'm supporting the law.
You don't think that the protesters have good cause for going to the streets?
That's what I'm saying.
Do they have good cause?
They have good cause so long as it's not going to be violent.
But are you sure there won't be violence?
No, I'm not sure. There's no way I can be sure.
So we cannot guarantee that there won't be violence?
You can only guarantee if you know the organizers who made an undertaking that there will never be violence. So long as you cannot identify them physically, there's no communication between organs of government and them. There's no any certainty on that.
Let me ask you, I mean, there are accusing fingers being pointed at the political class, that politicians are behind all of this. You are leading a major political party. And when those accusing fingers, it is you and your friends that those accusing fingers. Why would you politicians want to bring down the nation? Because elections are over. When we imagine that...
I disagree with that language.
But the political class are being blamed for being behind all of this.
It's easy to blame the... I don't know who are the political class.
Well, the intentions of calling the government to order for the actions or inactions relating to how it affects the lives and the livelihoods of Nigerians, right. But when the government is coming, especially the intelligence agency, saying that there are sinister motives, then one is worried that those kind of motives, why would politicians, for example, be wanting to bring down the nation in the name of peace in the guise of peaceful protest?
Shehu, I don't know any politician that I'm sitting here that is funding the protesters.
And you don't think politicians can?
Number two, Shehu, let me also tell you, this current president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President Muhammadu Buhari, and a host of others, including religious scholars, participated in the protest. You could remember that. At a point when Tuba Kadiba was part of it, they were tear-gassed. So it's not as if this is the first time of having a peaceful protest. It's not the first time. Now, it's not as if we're incapable of handling the situation. It's not as if the security agencies are incapable of identifying those behind it. It's not as if they're incapable of controlling the situation. Now, controlling the situation doesn't mean you use coercion at all costs. And it doesn't mean you will panic the country. Because what I'm saying is like panicking the country, of what is likely to be happen. Now, if you are sure that the magnitude of the situation is as bad as they are presenting,
and
then they are raising fingers,
like a doomsday.
Yes, they are making it to look like a doomsday, like nobody is going to survive. And then if they are accusing finger on the political actors or political parties, what stopped them from convening a meeting of the political leaders to discuss with them? What stopped the government from doing that? We are part of the country.
But
we are
would you
part of
blame the government if they keep quiet also and things escalate and escalate badly?
No, nobody said the government should keep quiet.
Yeah.
But what we are saying, government have a channel of communication to its citizens. The first reason why you aspire to be a president is because you have the skill, you have flexibility, you have deterrence to engage the system. Where you need to apply deterrence, you apply deterrence. Where you need to apply diplomacy, you apply diplomacy. But in a situation where you feel you have the monopoly, and we don't live in an era of monopoly, we live in an era where people contribute. Nigeria is not just a nation of idea, it's a nation of reality. And these are the reality we are facing today. Idea is different. The reality of what we are facing today are hugely unemployment, poverty, lack of food supply, and lack of engaging the citizens. We don't want to see a repeat of what is happening in Kenya. I saw where the Kenyan president have collapsed and crying. Now, if you remove humility and remorsefulness in leaders, nothing happens apart from anarchy and violence. Arrogance will key in, sycophants will key in, and then the country will go into crisis. So what I'm saying is that as someone who experienced, have been around the corridors of shaping power and politics, I expect the government to apply more of diplomacy, more of engagement. It wasn't President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that created this problem. He inherited it, and he knew he inherited it. And he said that I inherited it because I will solve the problem. Now, if you do not solve the problem, you are making effort to solve the problem, people are not feeling that effort. You can't tell them that we cannot talk. There are so many channels of talking. There are so many channels of organizing town hall meetings to engage the citizens. You know, most of these things are not like people like us that are stranded trying to call for this. What do I benefit from funding protests against the federal government of Nigeria? What am I going to benefit from it? And I've said it severally, we will never be part of pulling down the roof. The government must be careful from using their hand to pull down the roof.
Alhaji Gabam, let me ask you, and pointedly too, do you think that the government of the day has capacity to do right by the Nigerian people?
Well, capacity depends on the composition of the government. The president alone have no capacity to drive the system. That's why there's a provision for ministers, cabinet, assistants, and so on and so forth. If there is no engagement on this component that form a government...
But what we have seen so far, do you think that we have the right drivers to get the nation to the desired point?
Let me tell you the buffers of presidents. The buffers of president are 5, and there are 2 that make them 7. First, the clearinghouse of the president, chief of staff. The media house is under chief of staff. Protocol is under chief of staff. Security of the village is under chief of staff. The entire itinerary of the presidency is under chief of staff. An oversight function.
So if President Tinubu fails or succeed, Femi Gbajabiamila should be held responsible.
He will completely be accomplished to it. Let me give you the buffers. You need to know.
Is the chief of staff?
Is the chief of staff. Number 2, you have the NSA, who coordinate the security agencies of the country.
That's Nuhu Ribadu.
No, everything that happened that have to do with intelligence or failure of intelligence or failure of implementation or failure of coordination. He is in charge of coordinating that. How he coordinated, how he liaises with the strategic sector of intelligence, the architecture of the security agencies is critical. Number 3 is the SGF. SGF coordinates the Federal Executive Council, the activities, the memos, and so on and so forth, the project and project implementation. Number 4 is the head of service of the Federation, who deal with the core civil service and image making and image laundering of the government. Number 5 is the Minister of Information, who dish out information in relation to government engagement and activities. How he dish out those information matters. How he relates to Nigeria and what government is doing matters. You know, so these are the buffers around the president. And if these buffers,
the overall,
listen, if these buffers are not coordinating properly, there's no way you cannot have crack in the government. It is impossible. It is practically impossible.
But from what you see, are they working well?
I've not seen the coordination. Probably at individual level, they are doing what they are doing. I know a bit of what NSA is trying to do, you know, trying to coordinate, work hard, and you can see there are level of achievement in stabilizing the security, the criminal element, the gang leaders have been eliminated in one way or the other, are under prosecution, and so on and so forth. But the critical sectors that create these buffers, if they are not in tandem, if they are not on the same page, if they don't share information and ideas, citizens will not be communicated. And if there's a discommunication, the president will suffer the bashing.
In your own view,
of the nation.
Do you think that this government is on the right track?
Yeah, because of what I have seen, if they are on the right track, nobody will talk about protest. If their policies and programs are well tailored towards the mindset of Nigerians, nobody will talk about
So they are missing the point.
They miss the point. We talk about the palliative. We talk about the transport sector. We talk about the security. One of the traditional rulers mentioned, if you can take care of insecurity, farmers will go back to farm. The farming system that we are, I want anybody to come and tell me where the federal government has subsidized fertilizer for farmers. Where and what location?
Let me pause you for a moment. Let's go on the break. When we come back, Shehu Gabam is still with me. I will be joined by Senator Matthew Irohide, and we shall be talking about what is happening in Edo State. Of course, the national issues has gotten all of us talking. We'll be right back, everyone. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Shehu Gabam, the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, has been speaking with us right here in our studio. Let's take a pause for a moment and switch gears momentarily to speak with Senator Matthew Irohide as we approach the Edo State governorship election. Tensions are undeniably high, with recent violent incidents at Benin Airport Road raising serious concerns about the safety and stability of the electoral process in that state ahead of the crucial election. This alarming situation is exacerbated by dangerous rhetoric circulating among political actors, heightening fears of further unrest. Tonight, we delve into these developments, exploring their implications for democracy in Edo State and the urgent need for peaceful, constructive engagement ahead of the September polls. Senator Matthew Irohide is one of those who have just recently moved from the PDP to the APC and is live with us from Benin City virtually. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Shehu.
I imagine that is a paradox or ironic, isn't it, that you were the one who led the campaign that saw the re-election of Governor Godwin Obaseki. And today, you have dumped Governor Obaseki. Not only that, you have dumped the PDP and your friends in the PDP, and you have moved to the opposition APC, the party you vehemently walked and preached against that was not good enough for the Edo people. Why? Senator, can you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't hear the last part of that question, but let me assume, I heard the, greater part of that question. You are correct. I was in the PDP up until the time just before I left the Senate, last year, about June. Well, circumstances will always make political actors take certain decisions that, of course, will border movements from one party to the other. You know the way it is in our country. No matter how good-natured you are, or principled you are, the actions, certain political gladiators, particularly those who are in power, will always make you take some of these inevitable decisions. So that's okay. I was in the ACN, you remember, from 2007 to 2011. When, of course, certain actions were taken which were inimical to my political growth. I had to go to the PDP. And, of course, I secured the tickets to the Senate in 2015. And I moved over to the Senate. But before I left the Senate in 2023, the same intolerance, the same selfishness, presented again on the platform of the PDP. And then, of course, with the division that we were very much aware of in the state and at the national, I had no option but to take
the painful, decision of having to exit from the PDP, to go back to the APC. Going back to the APC, it was homecoming for me because virtually every person on that platform, including, the strategic leaders of the party in the state, have been my political friends. We have fought battles. We have fought battles before. So it was not difficult for me to come back, to the APC, where I find, a whole lot of more mature politicians in the state.
But I imagine that the PDP gave you the chance of being in the Senate twice. Is that a consideration in your... Did you put that into consideration when you were moving to the APC at all?
Of course, yes. You just said something a while ago. That I was at the forefront. Okay. You just said something a while ago. I was at the forefront of the re-election of, our incumbent governor, in 2020, and I mean, that action, I cannot say I regret it today. We did what we needed to do, to return to power. More so, it was, from my senatorial district, where I was elected to defend the interests of my district. And instead of being, somebody from my district, I had to stand by him, to get re-elected. Yes, it is true. I worked for the PDP. If you remember, I was public secretary of this party for 4 years, before I ever asked to be, nominated as candidate on that platform. I worked for the party. While inside, in the Senate for 8 years, I worked for the party. And, leaving the party now because of, intolerance and misdemeanor on the part of, individuals. I have to go. So I don't have any regrets.
What exactly was your grouse, Senator?
For the party.
Yeah, Senator Iroide. Yes. What exactly was your grouse for leaving the the PDP for the APC? Is it the governor that upsets you, or what was it? Is it your grievance with the governor, Basaki?
No, I cannot say, direct, quarrel with the governor or grievance. You are aware to date, the irreconcilable difference in the PDP in Edo State to this day persists. That's why the legacy PDP now moved over to the APC. So, it was getting too embarrassing for me, somebody of my status, and particularly in politics of the state. I couldn't find myself between two gladiators. That is, the political administrators in the state and the government. And I found myself, trapped between the two. And some of the things that were happening were things I couldn't really stand, tolerate. So I couldn't be on either side. And everyone I had to talk to was suspicious of what was happening on the other side. And I thought of it, these are people, even before they came out, being in politics, I've been in partisan politics. So I told myself that I'm too big for this type of rift that was existed in the party. So I had to go. And the same thing too, resonated at the national level, you recall. And some of the things that happened, in the PDP, we thought, some of these things, could be reconciled, but they didn't. And the problems that we had in the party did not abate because of the exuberant nature of certain individuals. We went around the whole country campaigning, for our candidate at that time. But you know what happened? When the segment, of the party decided to go against, the common interest of the party, which was, of course, in our candidate true. To date, at the national level, that division is still there, and if you look at a party that is so divided against itself, at the local level of the state and at the national level, if you are a responsible person who thinks that peace should be the order within the political party system, then you know that you have no option but to leave them. So I had to leave.
So, I see now that you have left the PDP. Mr. Comrade Philip Shaibu has also defected to the APC. A few other people will understand are also moving to the APC. Is this some kind of exodus to the APC? Now, there are those who say that the movement of some of these actors from the PDP to the APC has not in any way dwindled the chance of Asue Ighodalo in any way.
At the risk of campaigning for any individual, I want to say this, until the elections are over, the governorship elections are over, come 21st of September, and the declaration of result, maybe on the 22nd of September, I cannot say whether there's a negative effect on the part of the PDP. We're leaving it to go to the APC or not. We don't know. And I'm not in this business to, pontificate on issues of could it be this, could it not be so. But you just mentioned a while ago, virtually every person's political, relevance in Edo is moved out of the PDP to the APC. How do you explain it? Eventually, everybody that made the platform tick, make it strong to support election, in the years past, we have all moved out of the party, So we all have virtually the same reason, but that is not what I should be saying here. Otherwise, I'll be glorifying certain persons. I don't want to. I'm in politics for my sake and service to people. All right? And if anybody is there on the same platform and I find that the person occupies a position where I can no longer express myself and where we are not working the interest of the greater majority of the people, we're left with no option. Go with the people. We're on the side of the people now in the APC. And that's the truth.
I mean, you don't fear, Senator, that you might be taking a very big risk here. The power of incumbency is there on the side of the PDP. They are in power. They are telling the people of the state that they have performed. They are performing in the interest of the people of the state. Isn't it a big risk for you to take, to go to the side that the PDP said is a losing side, and they said they are the winning side? Are you worried about that? That you may just be playing, when you're not playing to the advantage of a winning effect for the election?
Let me tell you, Shehu, at the risk of, maybe not, over-expressing myself, I'm not taking any risk, and I want to tell you, without fear of contradiction, that what is happening in Edo today, those who have things to show, those who have verifiable evidence of performance, some of us are lucky to be counted. The 8 years I stayed in the Senate, all that I did for the people of Edo South Central District, which is going to be the major battlefield, we speak for the APC, to speak for our candidates. Because the candidate is in the same mood as myself. Where I came in 8 years is all about attracting development to my central district. The candidate in 1 year has done the same thing. So, excuse me, the electorates are the ultimate deciders, and they're going to be the ultimate deciders of this election. So it's not a risk. Which government?
I mean, but what is happening now is concerning, Senator.
We brought it to relevance, and again we have moved away from it. And what we have done before for Edo people, we speak volumes for us. And again, that will be our passport to victory. That's okay.
Senator, just a moment. What happened at the just a moment, Senator? What happened at the airport road is concerning,
yes,
and is a sad tale. And anything of that nature should never be happening in our polity, not around the elections. Allow you to listen to what Mr. Asue Ighodalo, the PDP candidate, said about this particular situation. Take a listen to him.
I think the police will have to investigate the process. And what we try to do is to stay on the issues and to be fair, to keep an open mind. We think that with the evidence before the police, they don't have a choice but to conduct an effective investigation, and they will do so. We don't have any reason not to believe they won't do so. All of you saw the TV footage. You saw the people that were carrying AK-47s, pump action. They know them. It's clear. It's evidence in plain sight. So, that some of those people are still walking the streets amazes me. But we have confidence, and you have to have confidence in your process until your process proves you wrong. So it's just 6-7 days. Maybe they are taking their time, but we're sure they'll get to it.
There are those in the PDP who are pointing accusing fingers, Senator Orohide, that elements in the APC instigated that kind of violence. I mean, that is sad, isn't it?
Joe, excuse me. Just like you said, it's a very nasty narrative at this point in our national development that ugly incident at the Benin airport, took place. I don't want to join issues with anybody, but suffice it to say that if the police really are conducting their investigation, the ultimate culprits will be exposed. And Nigerians will know that indeed these were the people who performed that dastardly acts. So I'm not afraid at all. But I can't come to television and say it is this party or that party. There is no way that Senator Monday Okpebolo's Oddly would have shot himself. No way. And there's no way his Oddly that was closest to him would have been killed by people who were with Senator Monday Okpebolo, or somebody in the APC raising up his gun to shoot Senator Monday Okpebolo's Oddly. That was the closest person to the senator as he was coming out of the airport. So, I mean, a lot of these people, and particularly our young people, they are hired to do some of these ugly, dirty jobs, unfortunately. And we know what it is in our state when it comes to this expression of violence and display, of intolerance by politicians. We know what it is here. Who has done what or who did what? The police should go into the investigation. They want to investigate this, you should know. The people today that are being looked for, who are they? I mean, so I am on the same side that let the police conduct their investigation. And of course, I think the investigation will expose those who were really behind this. If anything, we who are the leaders for the political parties, we should tell our followers the truth. I pride myself in saying that I don't parade talks. I don't have touts around me. I've been in politics since 1992 in these states. Virtually every person that is a gladiator on the political platform today met me in partisan politics. But Senator Rodide, go and ask. I have never paraded talks. Nobody carries a gun around me.
Senator,
so if you are seeking for positions and you are carrying these boys to go and commit this crime, it's just unfortunate.
Quickly,
it's
Senator.
Only you, the leader, that is not mature.
Yeah, Senator, quickly, I like a straightforward question here. How would Monday Okpebolo beat Anasue Godalo or maybe the former NBA president, the Labour Party candidate? Does he have a chance? Just a straightforward answer.
Shehu, let me tell you, Nigerians who are electors, they are come of age. Nobody can lead them anymore by the nose. You must have verifiable evidence of performance. You must have verifiable evidence of benevolence and verifiable evidence of compassion before Nigerians can vote for you. Today, let me tell you, Okpebolo enjoys the mandate of the people from Edo Central, which is almost 1/3 of the state, as a city senator. His running mate, Honorable Dennis Idausa, carries the mandate of Via Federal constituency. He's been elected twice. Ground state, they have support. They have done a lot of things in their constituencies. Monday has built schools. Monday has provided water. Monday has given us scholarships. Monday is providing free transportation in the place. Monday has contributed higher than anybody in securing.
Senator, because of our time, I'd like to ask you this final question.
Of all the candidates, Monday has the best chance. And if anything, he's only coming to Edo South to ask for more votes. Let nobody deceive you.
So when we wonder what happened in the other election with the performance of the Labour Party, for example, and how things went, maybe that is going to be also a context for how the election in September will go. But because of our time, I just have about 20 to 30 seconds.
Yes.
And the fact that your party at the center is being pounded with a lot of pressure, And the planned protest. So there are those who think that the party's chances are dwindling, and perhaps it will have a direct impact on what happens in Edo State, that your party may be unpopular. I mean the APC now, in 30 seconds.
Yes. Now let me first dwell on the issue of Labour Party. The Labour Party victory, the elections, last year. I want to tell you, I was one of those persons who orchestrated that. Okay, today, my senior legislative aide, who was with me for 8 years in the Senate, is the senator that replaced me. Okay, and it was this same thing that presented that made us to take the decision that he should go on the Labour platform to go and contest the senatorial election, and he won. Okay, that again is gone. People have returned back to base. So that, of course, that of Labour, it was a movement at that time. The Labour Party is different from the Obedient Movement. The Obedient Movement was the one that gave all of that. And we festered the nest to make it survive, to make it support election. We had in other districts Labour Party. They didn't win the election. All
right, Senator, we are totally out of time. But thank you so much indeed. I wish you and your political party the very best in that election. Senator Matthew Rohide, Senator in the Senate, but now has moved from the PDP to the APC. Let's conclude this program now. Allow Alhaji Shehu Gabam 30 seconds to his final statement on the state of the nation. You said the president must, as a matter of urgency, address the nation. But aside that, they need to roll back if necessary on some policies. They need to move faster on some policies if there are going to be new ones. But in your own view, what should come top as those policies that needs to be put in place urgently?
As the #1 chief marketer of the country, the president and commander-in-chief, he have laid some very good achievement, particularly the local government financial autonomy. These are conversations they should take to the grassroots. They have created a base for conversation, engaging Nigerians, how they will leverage, this very callous poverty that is ravaging the country, lack of food supply. Once the local government are in charge of their funds, they can expand the agricultural sector, they can create employment, they can fix their community problem, local government problem, the pressure will come down. Secondly, the president as commander-in-chief, I've said this before, needs to purge 75% of his cabinet. If you want to move on, the mindset of Nigeria in the last 2 years is not the same mindset that we're having today. He came in at a time the country is at the crossroad. He took over a country that was on its knees, and he knew he took it when it was on its knees. He promised to fix it. What I expect him to do is to pick people that understand what the country is going through. Right. You cannot go and pick somebody that have no any background, and you give him in the ministry that will take him 2 years experimenting on what to do.
Alhaji Shehu Gabam, thank you so much indeed. Alhaji Gabam is the national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, this SDP. Thank you so much indeed for
a great pleasure. Thank you.
But that's our show for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow, same time, 7 p.m., God willing. God bless Nigeria. Bye, everyone.